SC2 is coming around the corner. Now, I'm sure you've heard about SC2 from your manager. In fact, some of you heard extensively about SC2, and you've got a really solid plan put together for it. If you do not have a plan put together for SC2, it is highly likely that you do not understand what SC2 is, what it means, and what it can mean for you. And this is the most important thing. What does it mean for you? Not what does it mean for your office, although that is super fun to get tied into, by the way. And I hope you buy everything about the team-oriented attitude and going for it and crushing the other team, because that's super fun. But it's not about what it means just to your office or what it means to the division or the company or to the region. What does it mean for you? And it's so smart for a person to ride a wave when they can, a wave of momentum, other people's enthusiasm and excitement. You know, one of the reasons that people go to a personal trainer is because that person will push them. One of the reasons they go to the gym is they're in an environment where other people in the class that they're taking or in the gym itself are working hard, so they get caught up into that, and their culture builds it that way. You know, I think about the fact that I never actually made the decision to go to college. And that might sound funny, even though I'm a college graduate. Why did I never make the decision to go to college? Well, my parents just talked to me about where are you going to go to school after high school. They never said, you have to go to college. They never made me go to college. But it was just talked about with such an assumption that I just never considered not going. And that was the culture that I was actually in my own home. Some of you have that culture. Some of you actually heroically made that decision and ran against the grain in order to be able to do that, and I really respect that you did. And then others were actually in a setting where they were given a certain opportunity, whether it's college or something else, and they just turned from it, not because it was the right thing to do, but because it was the easy thing to do. They didn't embrace the challenge. This is a time that you embrace the cultural challenge. There's a momentum, there's an attitude, there's an expectation, there's a doing more that you want to tie yourself into, because it makes hard work normal. And if hard work is normal, you see yourself as normal while you're conducting it, it doesn't become that big of a deal. Whereas you feel like, gosh, I'm the only one doing this. It could be the lowest performance anywhere at any time. I mean, anybody that's a parent knows that. If you're a parent and you have, several kids, and you say, hey, go clean your room, and they say, well, it's cleaner than Susie's, well, that doesn't really matter. Maybe Susie's look like a bomb fell on it, and theirs look like a half bomb fell on it. Still, it's not at the standard that it should be, but they feel super proud because theirs is better than Susie's. You don't measure it that way. You measure it against what you could do. And you could be unbelievably great. Now, the only time that you use peer pressure is when the peer pressure turns you into a better version of who you are, and that's what SC2 does. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to dive in with greater resourcefulness than you've ever dove into anything before. And it's $1 million challenge. Your managers may have asked you the question about the $1 million challenge, but here's how it goes. If I gave you $1 million, guaranteed in cash right here, plus I'd give you a free home and a butler and a Bentley on top of it, okay? If you went out during SC2 and you did 8 appointments a day, every single day for the entire time. Now, by the way, I don't think anybody's going to do 8 appointments a day throughout the entire SC2 push, especially you're going to need a break here and there. I understand that. I'm giving you an extreme example for an extreme purpose, okay? If I guaranteed that to you, absolutely, you'd get $1 million if you did 8 presentations every day during the... In fact, let me make it $20 million. To make the point, okay? $20 million is enough to be set for life at the end of this push period. How many of you could do the 8 appointments a day? Now, some of you are saying, I have no idea how I do it, would find a way to do it. That's the difference. Even if nobody coached you on, you would be so excited about it that you would find a way to do it. You would call the right people, get the right training, you would take chances you wouldn't normally take, you would be more confident about talking to certain people in certain ways. Even if we scaled that down and we said, if you did that, but it was only 4 appointments literally every single day of the push, okay? That, by the way, is something that most of you can say, well, I could actually see doing that. It would yield such a huge result for you that you'd be tied in to the results of the push week in a way that you might not have experienced before. So, there isn't a $20 million gift out there. There isn't the Bentley and the butler. Although metaphorically speaking, if you start to dive into things as though there's $1 million payout, you will have your $1 million day, okay? And that $1 million day, depending on what you go into, might actually not be money. It might be the gratification that you get from helping certain people in whatever industry as an educator or philanthropist or as a politician, whatever it might be. But it might be, for those of you who are business-oriented, a literal $1 million payout or more, okay? So begin now. Begin now. and begin again every day if you aren't at the level that you thought you'd be. The worst thing to do is when you're in the push to go, it's not going like I thought, so I'm going to kind of give up or reset my numbers. Just begin again. Begin again, begin again, begin again until you are on pace or you're on track with what you need to do. This is a time to dive in. Listen to your manager. If they're tying you into a meeting they want you to be in, go for it. Dive in, immerse yourself into the opportunity, and be the best version of who you can, but in a stretched fashion. This is a time to really test yourself, to say, I'm feeling the pain of greatness, and what is it doing for me? Because when you get done with SC2, you're going to leapfrog yourself through so many promotions that when you go through the balance of the summer, you're going to have a higher commission in such a huge way that you're going to want to aggressively go after things at that point too. If you're already in FSM, you're going to build such a paycheck that the rest of it is something you can just add on in a way that you might have discretionary income or pay for your education in ways that you didn't think you could, or get ahead. And that's a powerful thing. So SC2 is a time to capture that. Can't wait to see you there.